How do you sort out the so-called jargon from real-world practices that work? Do the members of your organization find some business or technology advice utterly confusing? Welcome to Real Talk with Sam Holcman. In this program, we set the record straight, and in terms that business people and technology people can understand. Now, here is your host, Sam Holcman.
Welcome to this edition of Real Talk. I'm Sam Holcman. Thank you for listening to this particular broadcast. And this particular broadcast is very direct to the chief information officers in the world and also their equivalent in government. That would be secretaries, those types of positions, and even presidents and ministers, things like that. What are we talking about here? It's time to spotlight the essential concerns that demand these people's consideration. There's an urgent need to bring key issues to the forefront of leadership's attention. And that specific issue is software and software development and its quality. It is the oil of the future, and it is chaotic. Some recent examples. Mr. Bastian, the Chief Executive Officer of Delta Airlines, has pointed out that a recent technology outage has cost his company $500 million. And that does not include the direct and indirect costs for the populations that have been using the Delta services, the inconvenience, the missed activities, the missed deadlines, the missed wonderful activities that occur within a family or within an organization. Incredible sums of money. And that's only one example. And unfortunately, for the industry, meaning the software industry, Delta has hired a prominent litigator to address this. So this isn't going to end here. I am not a fan of litigation, but sometimes what you need is a wake-up call, essentially, to the industry. And perhaps that's what we're seeing. Now, one of the vendors that was involved in this chaotic situation in technology said that there was a bug in the quality control tool that they were using. Think about that for a moment. The tool that is used to check the software had a bug in it. And that's because of the software industry immaturity. Immaturity. And this is what needs to be addressed. And that piece of software, the quality software that checks the other software, caused a critical flaw to be pushed out to millions of machines running the software. Now, Mr. Bastian made a comment in the Wall Street Journal that said, "You've got to test this stuff." Mr. Bastian, my apologies for saying this very directly to you. It's not testing. Testing does not say that a product is good. Testing says the test passed. That's all it says. And furthermore, who is writing the testing software? Now, that may sound silly, but the vendor that is testing the software is writing the software testing software. Well, people say, well, let's get a third party to do this. They're using the same immature development practices, software development practices, to write the testing software. That's not going to help. I want to stress again, that's looking at the issue, as the phrase goes, after the horses have gone out of the gate, out of the fencing areas. It's way too late. We have to look at the software development process. The software development process is an issue that we're going to talk about a little bit more. Yes, it is a wake-up call. Mr. Taclet, I hope I pronounced that name correctly. He is the chairman of Lockheed Martin. The free world has essentially bet its survival on one fighter jet. that Lockheed Martin is producing. It's a new generation fighter, an extremely, extremely sophisticated piece of hardware. Right now, as of this broadcast, it doesn't work. Specifically, it's the software that doesn't work. And in modern warfare, software is as important or more important than the hardware. What's fascinating for all of us to think about, not just in these industries, but other industries, is that the hardware reliability is generally orders of magnitudes better than the software. It's because the software is stuck in maturity level 1. And this is what we need to address. Now, one of the recipients of this new fighter jet was the Air Force, and they refused to accept the jets. Now, there's discussions as of this broadcast to try to come to some kind of temporary agreement to address this, but that doesn't mean the software development and the software itself is actually completed. And this is, of course, one of the ongoing issues. Mr. Nadella, the chairman of Microsoft. Is Microsoft to blame? Is Mr. Nadella to blame? It is so easy to point fingers. It's just so easy to point fingers. What I am going to say to these three chairmen and others is, what is your software development process? What is your software development process? And I'm afraid to say, if I can use a analogy here, it's construct, maintain, maintain, maintain. Yet in the physical world of building hardware-based activities, it's architect, analyze, design, assemble to order. Architect, analyze, design, assemble to order. That's what we refer to as maturity level 3. So the question for all of these individuals, and that's why we hope this broadcast does somehow reach the chief executive officers of the world, not just the chief information officers of the world. Maybe this will support some of the things they've been saying, which would be fantastic. This issue is crucial at the CEO level, or in government, it would be at the secretary level, or whatever highest officer is in that particular organization. And what we have to recognize is that first word, architecture. And unfortunately, coming back to the maturity of our industry, we have a lot of elixir salesmen, unfortunately, selling this architectural concept. So please be careful. Not only you as CIOs or people that are looking for this type of skill to address these things of maturity in software, and not look for people that we refer to as CINO architects, CINO. What do the CINO stand for? Certified in name only. They've gone out and taken a multiple guess exam, get this little logo next to their name, and they are, quote, certified from now forever in architecture. But they've never done it. So to the community that recognizes that architecture is the baseline for addressing and managing change in most industries, and now needs to be the baseline for the software industry to address this growing cyber issues that we're seeing, software quality issues. Hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars are being wasted because of where we are in the maturity. It is time to bring these issues to the CEO level. What we need is a baseline for addressing and managing change. Architecture is the baseline for addressing and managing change. In the world of technology, it's enterprise architecture, real enterprise architecture, realistic, enabling, actionable, and logical. Human consumable enterprise architecture is the key to addressing these things that you're hearing in this broadcast. And because of the short time I can spend with you on air, that's about all we can cover at this point. I hope the industry is listening. I hope the CEOs are listening. This is a crucial issue for many, many organizations, and it's time that the CEOs get involved in this particular area. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for tuning into Real Talk. Be sure to join your host, Sam Holcman, again for another edition of our program. We'll have more real topics of discussion then.